Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Kuri, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. Happy 4th of July to all of you, my American brothers. It's hopefully a good time for you guys to spend time with the family. I know there'll be fireworks and barbecues and all sorts of things that are happening right now because luckily it's summertime for many of you. And again, one of the things that most people do when you have this time period where you're off and you're spending time with family, there's this expectation of that we should be having sex. And if you've already been, this as a rule of thumb, if you have not had sex more than 5 times this year or even less than that, you shouldn't be initiating or trying to have sex at all. And there's a reason why I'm saying this, because most people, they see these periods as missed opportunities or opportunities to take advantage of. And when you do so, it increases your outcome dependency. What does that mean? The outcome dependency is that I'm going to do stuff hoping that I get sex as a result for it. And what tends to happen when you operate with outcome dependency, it increases seduction resistance. So as she feels that you're doing things in order to get sex, she feels a sense of obligation, and this creates a discomfort for her, and then therefore it won't happen. So most guys tend to get rejected around this holiday time or period of time where you've got time off and you should be connecting, you should be having sex, but it doesn't happen that way. Again, with spending time with family, again, by the time you get to the evening, most likely you might be exhausted or maybe wasted or had a few too many wines. Whatever it is, the expectation for sex should be off within this time period. So I just thought I would say that. And I'm also was reading a Reddit, and I saw a post where a gentleman was talking about that in just 1 year they've had sex 6 to 8 times, and it's now a regular occurrence for the past few years, and this year already they've just not had enough. So he goes on to say, and I thought this was quite interesting, as he says that I have tried everything to increase the amount of sex that we're having. Now that bit there, when he says that, normally when people say I've tried everything, they tend to be doing the wrong thing. They've got this sex focused events or sex focused ways of trying to change the relationship. And what does that mean when I say sex focused? So I'll just say sex focused objectives. So they do stuff focused on getting sex. When you do it that way, again, like we talked a little bit about that seduction resistance rises. What tends to happen is that you're addressing the wrong thing. The problem isn't the fact that you're not having sex. The fact that you have sex at least 6 times a year. So the problem isn't quite the sex. The problem is the sexual discomfort. So if you address the sexual discomfort, there's more likely chance that you're going to increase the frequency of having sex. So she just has the problem of actually getting there. From experience, speaking to many guys, they say when my wife will start actually having sex, she seems to enjoy it. She seems to love it. She has orgasm. She's really engaged in the whole thing. It's just getting it to the actually having sex, and that's the problem. That there's some sort of discomfort that has been developed within your relationship. That some of the baggage that has come from previous relationships, and then there's also the trauma that has come from just being a human being. So there's certain things that will cause sexual discomfort, or even just discomfort around certain interactions that causes the relationship to fracture on the sex front. So again, when you look at a relationship, you have to see it as though it's like a garden, and as a garden, there's certain things that you have to tend to. There's things on a daily basis as well, and then on a weekly basis, there's things that you might have to do in order to get the most fruit from that garden. And what tends to happen within the dynamics of our relationships, when there's these other negative things that we've all experienced, both men and women, they tend to then fracture the relationship because it causes us not to actually deal with the daily things and the weekly things and the monthly things that cause the relationship to continuously get into fulfillment. So in this case here, when he says I've done everything, I'm pretty sure in line with that analogy of the garden, he wasn't doing the right things to keep the garden going in order to get the most fruit. He was probably focused on the sex side of things, that what can I do to get sex? And what most people do in this case they would do more around the house. If because she'll say, I'm really, really tired, that's why I can't have sex. So they feel like, okay, I'm going to do everything around the house so she's rested, so I can potentially have sex. And then that doesn't change. So you start doing more around the house and it becomes your job. You do it all the time. And then she says something along the lines of, we never do much, we never go out that much. So you go out and start doing date nights, and you do, initially it's all working, you're having sex now, but then over a period of time it doesn't change anything. And really, when you do date nights, the date nights only mask the problem, because what tends to happen is that you go to this place that's a bit of novelty, a fact that you've moved away from the house. It will reignite things, or feel like there's a bit of reconnection. But what tends to happen is that if you have bad habits at home that are causing you to be separated and fractured within the relationship, you are going to go back to the house and fall back into the habits that are causing you to fracture and be in a miserable place within the relationship. So it becomes very important to deal with the correct thing, which is sexual discomfort. And in this case, I don't think this guy was dealing with the sexual discomfort, because you can see from here, it says, goes on to say, I love eating her out. She doesn't like it because she feels uncomfortable. And then he goes, I ask her to ask for a blowjob, and she's always saying no. Definitely she's going to say no, because she's got this massive sexual discomfort that is happening. So the fact that she's uncomfortable when he's trying to give her oral sex, and then she's uncomfortable with that, she's obviously going to be uncomfortable with the whole, even the initiation side of things. And then the fact that it's approaching it from this sort of negative point of view, like, oh my God, I can't believe that we're not having sex for so long. It's going to increase the negative association with the sex. So again, I'm putting this out because this is the more extreme type examples. And later on, he says, I'm finding it all difficult. I really need some help. I wish I could help this guy and just really reframe what sex looks like, or what sex should be within a relationship. I'm hoping that by sharing you guys this as you celebrate 4th of July, especially guys in America right now, it gives you an idea that instead of dealing or trying to initiate or trying to get sex, you should be focusing on, okay, what is causing the sexual discomfort? And one of the things that you can actually do in order to do this is really just communicate around, the fact that you've backed off. You don't want, we call it sexual disqualification. So, like, oh my God, you look really hot, but, then you say you look really hot, but today I'm not even interested in having sex with you, type of thing. It's wrong. Don't say that like that. It's just bad example. I don't have a good example for me right now. But in terms of a lot of sexual disqualification will add that curiosity for her to say, okay, if he's not chasing for me after sex, what is changed? And then this will make you want to chase. Now, there's a dynamic that we've talked about it on different episodes. You can go through that. I think I forgot the name of the episodes, but it's something to do with seduction and attraction. But at the same time, I wanted to just say this message so that you guys can understand that this is not an opportunity for you to put more pressure to try and get sexual encounters. Again, this is not time to bargain for sex as well. So that, it's this, so can we have some sex and then I'll do this for you type thing. Again, you shouldn't be bargaining for that. It should be a thing that you guys can enjoy, and nobody should feel some type of way, or within a healthy relationship, it should be something that is easy for you guys to transition from normal interactions into a sexual interaction. So without going deeper, and hopefully that you guys have had fun or listening to this episode and learned some things about, changing a sexless relationship. So thank you very much, guys. I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.